This is my signature makeup look. It makes me feel pretty. Now I know it's not for everyone. It is a bit eccentric. I sort of dipped into the 1920s and the 1990s, and that is where I came up with this look. I tend to focus on balance, symmetry, and precision. If you don't maybe want to look like this, you may still just learn some of the techniques that I use. I'm only gonna do it with these 5 makeup brushes and the sponge. And I'll tell you why. After 25 years of being a makeup artist, sometimes our shoot days would start as early as 4 a.m. After 10 models on set, a 12-hour shoot day, mostly outside, freezing your butt off, and then you gotta come home and wash all of these brushes. I am literally traumatized by those long shoot days and the amount of brushes I would have to wash at the end of the day, because if you had a shoot the next day, you had to wash them, and sometimes you might use all of them. Since I started to focus on social media and I'm mainly only doing my own makeup now, that's where these brushes came in. This is the core set plus the 05 from Rephr. They are thankfully sponsoring today's video so I can bring 25 years of makeup experience to you. These are handcrafted in Kumano, Japan, and they've been crafting brushes for like over 200 years. They're such good quality. I love the people that work for this brand, but these 5 brushes, they're all you need. Okay, let's get into my signature look tutorial. It's me, Jessica. I look so different without makeup on. I think so at least, but I do really enjoy the process of transformation. So I'm going in with the Westman Atelier non-waterproof pencil. As you can see, she's just a tiny little nub, although I did recently buy another one. And I used the 03 Rephr to smoke it out and create the shape. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do this kind of messy. So I try to really get this into the lashes, and I just smudge it in very messy because we're gonna clean it up, and I'm gonna use this brush to create the shape. I always do this on uncurled lashes so I can really get into that space right above, because my eyes are too sensitive to tight line. And so I really get this pencil in there. I forgot to shave my eyebrows. I always shave my eyebrows before I start my liner. So before we fix this, this is the Valmont spray that I use on my face, and I just do a little bit of some sort of moisturizing spray. I literally use like a men's razor that I can shave my legs with. So I just pull and I go ahead and shave my entire brow area. She's smooth as a baby's bottom. Now, back to the eyeliner. 03 Rephr, and we're gonna start to shape the eye. My eyes are very round. They sort of droop downward, so I find that this just makes my eyes look longer and more sleek. This is a really good start. Give a little bit more thickness on the end. With what's left on the brush, I'm just gonna smoke out a little bit of a line here and further connect to that outer part and pull outward. I mean, already there's a shape there, and that's what I like to do. Just create the shape. I don't wanna go in with precision right away. It gives me too much anxiety. I always have Daiso Q-tips. These are from Japan, and they have the most precise point, and they never really get too mushy. I love these. I have drawers of these. And I always have my micellar water and a little cup, and then I can dip my Q-tip right in the cup. Okay, and I will just start to shape out and just make everything really sharp at the end. Now, one thing I always do, which I kind of learned from makeup artist Alberto De Rossi. He would do Sophia Loren's makeup, Audrey Hepburn's makeup. He would create this little corner in here, this clean corner. And when I redid a Sophia Loren look, I noticed how open those corners were. That is why I started to do my eyeliner like this. I'm gonna just take off all of this here because I like it extremely thin and just right into the lashes. And I'm gonna put on face tapes down here. So I know the eye is going to lift slightly from the bottom. Really, in the theater, the first makeup ever created was grease paint makeup. So what the actors or clowns would do is they would do a wet makeup, and then you take away any excess grease to the product, but as you can see, it's still perfectly in place, and then you would powder your makeup. I'm gonna use this as my eyeshadow brush later, so I'm just gonna lightly dip in to my bucket of Maybelline Fit Me Loose powder. I got that from the drag queens, and I will just lightly tap right over. And you just set everything in place. Now you can go in, curl your lashes without messing up where you have your liner, because as you know, if you put on any kind of pencil liner that is waterproof or not waterproof, or a liquid liner, as soon as you curl your lashes, it's all over the lash curler. Any powder brush and just lightly dust away any powder. So now you have a shape. Always make sure your eyelash curler is clean and that your rubber pad has no split, because you don't want to lose any lashes. So I start at the tips and then I just work my way back to the base. I always talk about this. I have to do this particular technique because my eyelashes are so straight, they go downward. That's not even straight, that is literally pointing downward. But you're gonna see a huge difference when I curl. Now you can see how much more lifted the eye is, and because I did all of that black pencil into the lash line, it thickens the look of the lashes without having too tight line. I'm gonna go in with a black waterproof pencil. Right now, as you can see, my favorite is the Urban Decay Perversion pencil. It's black. I did buy a new one. Always sharpen the pencils. That's why they disappear so quickly. I'm not gonna go in the eye. I just go right on the outside. I keep it very thin, and already look how long the eye looks. This is not like a fox eye that dips down. I keep everything outward. So then I'm just gonna go right on the outside again and create this little inner part. Now I'll start to go over top that entire line. Another reason that I do this is because when the product gets in the lashes, it kind of messes up the eyelashes. So by having that little base there, I just have something to follow. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the entire top of the eye, and I will be very precise. But you see how black that is already, but it's gonna get blacker. Now following where I have that here, I am gonna pull out the eye because with waterproof pencils, they tend to wanna grip and not always glide, but I've got my shape. So I'll try to pull it out as far as I can. I don't usually go to the tip. I save that for liquid liner, but sometimes I try because I think the look of layering a liner just makes it look so much more rich and so much more part of the skin versus going straight on with liquid liner. I can never get that thick, somewhat smoky look into my lashes. So that's part one. That's part one of the liner. You can do this much more subtle than me and still get that effect. You can make the lines smaller. You can do it in a dark brown pencil, and you could just keep it on top, not even put it on the bottom, not put it in the corner. But these techniques are definitely just gonna help you get the most precise liner. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my other eye. I just do one coat of waterproof mascara. This is Definisols by Lancome, just to keep the lashes lifted. Then when I go in with my waterproof liner, I don't ruin the lash. But first, I gotta do my hair and put my tapes on. My hair is a very complicated process, and if you've seen my shorts, you've seen me use egg. You've seen me use different types of gel. Lately, it's kind of grown out a lot, but to hold it in place, I've been using the Got To Be glued, so it literally dries to like cardboard. It's hard as a rock. First thing that I do though is I spray with a little bit of water and setting spray. This is Lotta Body. It just helps to sort of shape the hair before I go in with the gel. Okay, I don't create a side part, I don't create a middle part. I create a schmiddle right here. I find that by keeping my hair asymmetrical, you can't tell how asymmetrical my face is. I provide balance by providing off balance. Once my hair is parted, there's usually a little piece that will kind of come to its own little space. I used to do like a swirl, but oh my God, it would take so long to create. So once I started to do this, yeah, I just fell in love with it. And I think maybe this is my signature. I've changed my hair so much. As you can see, if you've watched my videos, I always do the top part of my hair first, draw on my eyebrows, do the rest of my eyes, and then I will move to the lower part of the face. But I'm going to apply my face tapes. Now, I have gone into detail on other videos. My last video, my Marlene Dietrich video on face tapes, so I'm just gonna kind of quickly position them, but these are from Alcone, these are Mark Trainer. And I always position them here to lift the bottom of my face and lift the bottom of my eye. So it just slightly pulls the eyeliner outward. Okay, so if you see me in a full face of makeup, I'm usually wearing face tapes. And I will just put them as close to my ear as possible, with this being able to go behind the ear. Okay, I've put them on the first notch, so it's not pulling a ton, but I put it right at the back of my head. I always wear a hat. I always do my swirls, so you will not see the tape at the end. But I'm not gonna keep these tight the whole time. I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows, so I'm gonna release the secret weapon. We have the Surratt Beauty. I use the color brunette, and the way that I draw my eyebrows on, I have to turn my head to the side, and I go from the top of the brow and then down under the brow. And I draw them downward, so usually, yes, they're sloping downward, and when I put my head like this, they usually look straight across. On the top of the brow, down to the middle, and under. and she looks sad. It's so 1920s. Not everybody's gonna want brows like this, but I have seen a few people doing it recently, so I think I'm inspiring a few. I'm gonna go ahead now that I have a shape and just sit and perfect this with this pencil. Okay, my brows are in a better place. They do take a long time, but I've gone in with my NARS Matte Concealer. I have my 02 Rephr, and I use this for concealer under the brow to sharpen. I put this all over my eyelid, and I just press over the eyebrow. Okay, I'm just gonna go underneath and start to sharpen. I also go on top to cover my actual brow hair that kind of peeks through. You can easily do this on a real brow that's not drawn on this skinny. I'm gonna slightly pull my skin and just get right under that brow using my beloved 02. I love when a line is just crisp. Same on the top. Usually I can do this a little quicker. And then I'll just take whatever's left, whatever concealer is on the brush, and just go right underneath my eye to just cover up that little bit of redness. And again, you can get really close to that eyeliner. I often will take my brush and usually wipe it on my shirt. I'm gonna do it a little lower so you don't see that smudge. You could wipe them off on a towel. I don't know why I do it this way, but the 01 brush, it's flat, but it's also tapered. So I love this for the crease. I love this to just tap on the lid. I love this to blend up to the brow. I can pretty much do any shadow look with this brush. This is the blending brush. This is the crease brush. This is Taupe from MAC. It's discontinued. I talked about this in my last video. I'm just gonna add bone structure. I am not trying to create a heavy shadow. I am not trying to change the shape of my eye. I am just filling in my bone structure. And I will kind of go all the way up to the actual brow. But you see the precision that that gets, and yet it's so softly blended. And then I'll slightly blend downwards, so there's just this sort of mist of a taupe shadow all over the eye. But you just want to feel for that orbital bone and go right in there and just create depth, nothing to it. And I like my shadows to go on very sheer, just so my eyelids do not get, see, overly wrinkly. Now, once my eyeshadow is done, I will set everything with my loose powder. Again, we have the Maybelline tub on top all the way up to my brow. I layer my makeup and I will again go on top of that brow with one little line of my eyebrow pencil. It just makes everything look very smooth. I will show you how to do a shimmer shadow, but again, I will show you how to do it sheer. I have a technique for that, which I will show you at the end, but for my signature, this really is my signature eyeshadow that I wear every single day. I've gone ahead and pulled my tapes tight. I put it only on the #1 notch, but you see it just kind of gives me a little bit more of a light bulb shape to my face and obviously lifts everything. Now I'm gonna start to go in with my liquid liner. This is the Anastasia liquid liner and it dries super matte, it's super black, doesn't budge. It's just one less brush to use because I often would use a gel liner or like a water activated liner, so I always had to use a brush. Once I found this, changed my life. Since everything is already in place, I do just want to go on top of everything. Now I will go lightly behind the lashes, and now I can really get to that outer corner and just clean that up really quickly before it sets. I'm just gonna follow exactly where I put everything without going inside my eye. It's like you're just locking everything in place. Now, I'm sure many of you are like, why don't you just go right in with the liquid liner? And it's because, one, it's scary. If you're working on other people, everybody's eye shape is different. To go right in with liquid liner, it's like you could destroy everything that you've created. So just do it all first. Make the shape perfect, make the eyes pulled out, bring the beauty. Once you have the beauty, you can add all of the accoutrement, the glitter, the sparkle, whatever. You have the shape already done and set. And you can see, because I put my tapes on, it has lifted the bottom corner so the eyes look even more elongated. These are the lashes I use. These are Shy from Kiss, and I pretty much use these same lashes every single day. I'm sure I'm gonna have to do this off camera, but I just wanna pop it on just so I can show you. I have found that I cannot use most eyelashes anymore, especially if they have a very thick band. But you see what I mean? That like band that's on the eyelash. So this lash glue, it used to be called Esquido and now it's called Tadaki. Tadaki eyelash glue I get on Amazon so far is the most gentle lash glue for sensitive eyes, and it goes on quick. It makes it very easy. It dries extremely fast. Okay, hair is done and I will cover the rest with a hat. My lashes are on. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start on the skin. I often do my swirls first because then I can clean up around the skin. This is the vitamin enriched eye base from Bobbi Brown. Now, most people use the one that's made for the face. This is like my third jar. I accidentally bought this one time and I loved how hydrating it was. And so I just kept using it, although it's a really tiny jar to do an entire face, but I love how smooth the skin looks after I put my foundation on. This is the Elisa Eldridge Skin Tint. I'm using the color T1. What I love about this product is that it is very neutral. It is not too yellow, it is not too pink, and it really does make the skin look more beautiful, but like you're not really wearing any product. So I wouldn't normally do it like this, but I think people do this because it just looks cool on camera. Don't ever do this on a client because if it drips onto their clothes, you're out of a job. Okay, so I'll just take my fingertips and blend very lightly into the face. This is a Rephr sponge. I love this particular sponge because it's not so dense, it's very squishy, so it's really easy to clean, and it's just damp right now, but it will not remove any of the makeup. It just makes it look flawless. I clean my sponge every time before I use it. And I also use this for my powder, which you saw me do before. That just looks so natural and it's not too shiny. It doesn't accentuate any texture. I really, really love this product. So now I'm gonna go in with my concealer. This is the MAC Studio Fix. Going in with the Rephr number 15 brush. Now I learned to use a fluffy eyeshadow brush while I was assisting Pat McGrath. This is how she would do it. And I find that it just keeps everything in place. Anything too hard can tend to wipe product away, but this just makes it really seamless. Just going back in with my sponge and I'll just lightly dab on top. This concealer kind of sets itself, and I'll just take whatever's left on the brush and just go right around my swirls if I need coverage. Now, I don't like a lot of foundation, but I love powder. If I were, say, just going somewhere out in the daytime, I probably would just leave it like this. I wouldn't go so heavy with the powder, but I think on camera, it just looks like flawless. And I am a 90s girl. So I take my sponge and I dip into my Fit Me Loose powder and I just set everything. And I think that this powder gives a lot of coverage, which is why I like my foundation to be so sheer. This is actually Rephr's #1 selling brush, the 05. You can kind of see that my brush is stained because I pretty much always apply my blush using this brush, and this is the blush I use. This is from Give Beauty. This is the Dewy Plump and the color is Nightshade. I never go directly on my face. I take this onto my hand. This particular tone, being that it is somewhat of a deeper red, it really works, and the texture is beautiful. I'm taking my 05 and I am just buffing this into the brush, and this is going to help to remove a little bit of this powder, but I do it very, very softly, very gently. I will reapply this a few times, like after my freckles, bring this into my nose, bring this onto the other cheek, and I will create kind of a sunburnt effect. And I do love to kind of come downward with the blush. I don't know, I feel it looks youthful and I think it widens my face. I might be tricking myself with that. I'll do some up here, on my chin, under my chin, and then I'll just stamp right back on top with whatever is left on the sponge. First, I'm going to do my contour. So we have to go back with our 02 Rephr, and I'm also gonna hit the nose a little with the 01 because I already have that eyeshadow on there. So often what I'll do is I'll just take whatever's taupe is left and I will just hit the center of the nose. I've said it before, but my whole goal with the nose contour is just to make it look straight. And it's even more obviously crooked when I put all of my foundation on and I don't have any freckles. I'm using the Kevyn Aucoin, and this is the Light Fair. This is the contour sculpting powder. You can see that it is very much beloved. I create a V shape very, very, very lightly. And then this little part here, doing that rounded just makes my nose actually look shorter. I'll also go slightly on the tip here. That just immediately gives my nose a little more. And then I will take my same brush and just go around my lips to create some dimension. So when I do overdraw, it kind of melds together. I go in the philtrum and I go under the lip. And I will take the same powder and go under my eye. She's coming together, kids. I've just put a tiny, tiny coat of mascara on the bottom lashes, and then I like to get at the base, especially since I don't actually tightline, and just connect the fake lashes with the real eyelashes. The way I do my fake freckles, it is not haphazard. I know exactly where I'm putting them. I have this little, like, kind of like a skin colored mole maybe. Like, I put a dot there, and from that point, I start to distribute. Like for me, the freckles are just a way to cover the contour that you created, and I'll go over top with blush so they become even more part of the skin. I'm gonna do a few more. For this, I'm using the Rephr original formula. Okay, I think that's it for the freckles for now. This is the Dior Rosy Glow in the color Cherry. Again, I'm always looking for a more red blush. This one is a little bit more like an orangey red, but I love how sheer the formula is, and I'll just kind of dust on top of everything I've already laid down, bringing it outward. I don't want to go too far because in person it's intense, but on camera, I swear it looks so much softer. I'm gonna take my 05 again and go back into my sculpting powder and just hit under that jawline. I kind of like to contour with blush, but mixing that contour powder, I don't know, it just melds everything together. If you ever go too far, again, take your sponge and just go right on top of everything. This is when I feel like my skin looks its best. I am known to wear a star sticker over top of this mole here. I got the idea from Clara Bow from the 1920s. She had a star right there and I was like, that's cute. And it's just a nice way to cover this because it's not such a pretty beauty mark, it's a little blotchy. Sometimes I'll add a moon, sometimes I'll add hearts, but my typical look is this sticker from Miley Makeup. I'll just pop that on. And I kind of feel like it ties into the eyeliner. Okay, we have to now move on to the lips. We are almost done with the makeup. Probably you'll notice I've left the powder on my lips and even a bit of the foundation. Now, normally I will go in with a little touch of powder foundation. I like the lips really dry. Not necessarily this part of the lip. I'm constantly reapplying lip balm as I'm doing my makeup. But if this is dry and I use a dry, super sharp, like old school pencil, this is Rephr Walnut from Makeup Forever, I can overdraw the hell out of my lips. I go right above the lip, right above the Cupid's bow. And on the bottom lip, I tend to stay a little bit more in and then go under in the center and again in. And then I will fill in the lip from there. Okay, now that my shape is on, I go back in with, this is the Dual Finish Long Comb Powder Foundation. Any powder foundation will work, but I just go right back on top and then I will reline my lip. I have been doing this technique since the 90s and it just makes the lipstick and lip gloss, everything will last all day and it won't feather into any lines. It just stays on. And I don't have any problem with things getting dry because I'm gonna wear a lipstick and probably a gloss at the end. So I'm going right back on top and repeating the same process. I do love to wear red lipstick, dark lipstick. I love all colors, but if I was doing my signature, I tend to like an extremely pale nude. This one is just about the palest you can get. This is the 501 lipstick from Mina. Now that I have the Rephr Walnut, I usually just go only in the center with this. I'm wiping off my number 15 just lightly right on my bathrobe, and I will just soften that in the center. You can also just dab it with your fingers. Sometimes the brush helps to blend the lip liner in. I think I'm gonna do the Lucy and Pompette Le Camisole, which I used in my last video, and it has become an obsession. It's almost empty. And I'm gonna start in the center and just blend out to the edge very carefully to keep that precision. Okay, that is the final makeup look completed using 5 brushes only and a sponge. Now I've got to get dressed, put my hat on, put my giant earrings on. I'll be right back. I have my giant vintage earrings on. I literally have to use double-sided tape to get them to stay in place, but these giant earrings help further hide the face tapes, of course. So does my hair on the sides. It's a vintage beret. This is a Jean Paul Gaultier top with a matching pair of pants. And I really love this one because look, it goes on the fingers. We're just missing one thing. Fragrance. We got to do a fragrance of the day. Scent of the day is Christian Provenzano Ombre Dior. A little bit obsessed with this one. It's expensive, but it's so rich. Amber, woods, spice. I don't actually start a video until I apply one of my fragrances. But this one's a little bit of an obsession. Look how beautiful that bottle is. I hope you enjoyed this signature look tutorial. I hope that you took something away from it. Thank you so much to Rephr for sponsoring today's video. Now I want to show you how to get one more makeup look using this number 15 brush. I'm going to create some sparkling eyeshadow. This is the Space Chemistry palette by Terra Moon Cosmetics, and this color up here is called Moon Water. If I am not wearing my signature taupe shadow in the crease, I usually have on Moon Water because look at this color. Look at how beautiful that is. I will just dip right into the shimmer eyeshadow and then I just dab it onto the lid and I press it in. And I don't really like to use more than this because the thicker the shadow gets, the more wrinkled the lids become. I am going to take my number 15 brush. Of course, you saw me use it for concealer. I love it for concealer, but I will use this for eyeshadow. And then I take the Lisa Eldridge or any type of setting spray, anything to get it wet. And I will blend whatever shadow is there on the lid and start to blend it up into the brow. This is really all you need to get that beautiful shimmering reflection. You can even dip back in with this brush. There's so many ways that you can use the eyeshadow brushes, but again, we're talking about my signature look. Okay, don't want to put too much. Of course, because of the tapered point and because of the fluffiness of this brush, and yet it's just firm enough, then you can really take this shadow all the way over the eye. Oh, I love that. Okay, I'll do the other side. But it's quite sheer, so it doesn't look heavy and overly textured. It just looks like moonlit water. And that is the final look. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And of course, I hope to see you on the next one.